Welcome, David. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So look, we wanted to do this talk today because I guess for our viewers, there's a lot within bodybuilding, and as a professional, you know, we'd like to delve into some of that.
Yeah.
Most of these interviews are going to be basically stuff I want to know. So it's a bit of a selfish venture.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
But I guess what we'd like to do to start off with is tell us a bit about your story.
Okay.
Like obviously from South Africa.
Sure.
And what brought you all the way through? What's your gym story?
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for having me. It's really awesome to do something like this. And it's great to be able to share what I've experienced over the years. So I am South African, mm-hmm. but I left in my early 20s, and I went to the UK for a while. Mm-hmm. And then 4 years ago, my wife and my kids, we emigrated here, and now our life is in Australia. So with regards to my sporting background or exercise background, I started training actually when I was very young. 15 years old was my first powerlifting competition.
Wow.
And yep, my father, he started training me 1 week out from
over there still?
Yeah,
over
in South Africa, yeah.
Where in South Africa?
I was in Pretoria,
okay,
which is the capital. And
Bulls fan? Blue Bulls?
Blue Bulls, man,
yeah.
all the way.
Blood is blau?
That's
yeah.
it, blood is blue. And so I think I just fell in love with lifting straight away. Like I'd come from a sporting background. I used to take part in many different sports, and I was, I had just half decent at almost everything that I tried. But as soon as I started lifting, I think I deadlifted 105 kilos at 15 years old, weighing 55 kilos.
Wow.
So I did that, and I was like, wow, I love this. This is awesome.
Double your weight.
Yeah. So, but my bench was only like 37 and a half.
Yeah.
I think the girls were
same
lifting,
as mine now.
the girls were lifting more than me that day.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with lifting, and soon afterwards I was improving in my strength and training in the club, and I started, did a personal training course, and I just loved it. I started teaching group fitness training, especially boxer-size style workouts, and then that's right. So as I've continued doing powerlifting, and I got really, really strong at 17 years old. I had the heaviest squat in the country.
Wow.
As a teenager, so I really fell in love with lifting. But then I wanted to look good. So for me, it was all about looking good. So things had changed. So instead of lifting as much as I could, I wanted to look as good as I could. And my dad was a bodybuilder. So I kind of just felt natural to just focus on building muscle and looking good. And I think he planted the seed by saying to me how big I need to be because of my height on stage. So I had this end goal of being like a real mass monster bodybuilder. And I was inspired by people like Arnold and
do you remember that first magazine or whatever?
It's crazy. I remember. Well, the thing is, my dad had gyms, so and so I would be like this little kid looking at all these massive bodybuilders, pictures of these bodybuilders against the walls.
Awesome.
And I remember doing triceps one day. It was the funniest thing, and I think it was actually Paul Dillett, and he had a crazy massive, and here's a poster of him.
The freak, that's his middle name.
Yeah, I guess. And I remember doing triceps. My brother was training me, and he laughed at me because he looked at my triceps versus Paul Dillett's triceps. Very funny. So I had this ambition to get big and big and big, and so I chased that down. And when I left South Africa, went to the UK. It was kind of like a goal for me to just keep on getting bigger and bigger, and I did get pretty big. But I suppose fighting against my natural genetics, I've got a really small bone structure, and so I was chasing the mass. But each time I'd get on stage, heavier and bigger, I would be beaten by guys even heavier and even bigger. So,
but do you find sometimes the people with the bigger bone structure have a less sort of aesthetic physique almost sometimes?
Exactly.
I feel like I've got a big structure.
Yeah.
Even when I just thin down, but I don't feel like I've got the aesthetic as much.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly. I mean, that's exactly why I do what I do right now, because I just work according to my strengths, and so there's the aesthetics that I try to bring to the stage versus the mass like I was chasing in the past. But with that journey of bodybuilding in the UK, I did quite well. Went to the nationals both years I was doing it. and I was pretty competitive, but still, it was just, for me, it was like I was fighting against, this mass thing.
So this was really bodybuilding.
This is
for
hard,
mass.
yeah, hardcore bodybuilding, trying to be as big as possible. And I think I was 94.5 on stage, my first show, which was pretty good. I got first place, but I went to the nationals and I got 7th. And then the following year, I got first in the heavyweight, under 100 kilos. I think it was a couple of kilos heavier. But then at the nationals, I was like, no way.
And this is still in the UK?
That was in the UK, yeah.
So what took you really from South Africa to the UK?
Well, it's interesting. I never wanted to leave South Africa. Everything was just wonderful for us. Quite a good lifestyle, but yeah, just one of those working holidays and leaving just to go and see what else is out there. And when I left,
so what were you doing before though? Like before being a pro?
Well, we had a gym in the UK, so I left.
So always fitness.
Yeah, always fitness, always. Yeah. So I left South Africa, and then that's how. I mean, my wife is British, so you can see how it's all worked out.
But like English South African or British?
British.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So when I was in the UK on this working holiday visa, someone stole my heart, and then boom, South Africa. That was
the next question: is where did you meet her, sort of thing? Yeah.
So then South Africa was out the picture, and all I wanted to do was be with my beautiful wife.
Yeah.
So then we got ourselves established in the UK. We opened a gym, and then it was just an ongoing journey to try and get big and help people.
And she's also a professional?
She isn't yet.
Yep.
This is something that.
But she does compete.
She does compete, yeah. But like, she's a tough lady. She's we got 3 children, and she our youngest is 8 months.
Oh.
Yeah. So. And she's back to training, and she's like, I'm actually personal training her myself. Wow. Taking her through awesome workouts to get her body ready for a show at the end of the year. But she's a really tough girl, and she is more inspiring than people realize yet. Like when you think about what she does, and how much she's responsible for the home, with the kids, raising the family, helping with the business, and still. As a new mum, getting ready for a kind of a pro card. That's what we're aiming for.
So that's October this year. And what's the competition?
WBFF. That's the same federation.
Yeah. So it's the World Beauty, Fashion and Fitness. Yeah. Right, same federation as yourself.
Yeah.
Where is that competition?
On the Gold Coast.
On the Gold Coast. Yeah. Cool. So we'll be looking out for you.
Yeah.
And that's pretty epic. I'd love to do a follow-up.
Yes.
After that, see how you guys go, coming in condition and stuff. That'd be excellent. Yeah.
Well, that's right. I'm going for my first pro show there, and then she'll be in the amateur division, in the bikini division. So, yeah, it'll be amazing results if all goes to God's plan.
Wow. So, as far as these competitions, where does the WBFF sit in? Because there's all sorts of different federations and stuff, right?
Yeah, WBFF. It's they call themselves an organization, which I can totally understand, because they're just something different from the normal kind of bodybuilding federations. So they focus more on more fashion than just fitness. So there's more fashion, there's more beauty. They're trying to prep. They're trying to find athletes for cover as cover models and for the covers of magazines, and so it's really a marketable physique that they're looking for in every division. So there's no extreme hardcore extreme vascularity that they're looking for that you'd find in other federations, where they're just looking for that who's the most conditioned, or who's the biggest, or who's the where this is about who looks the best,
like an aesthetic,
pure,
almost not purely but mostly aesthetic.
That's right. It's like they're looking for the most beautiful physique. And also someone who can pose, who can stand in front of a camera and is not going to be looking like they're out of place.
Marketable as well, I think you said to
marketable.
me.
Great ambassador for the sport. So that's what there's a difference between if you call it a federation, but definitely they call themselves an organization. And so I suppose that's what sets them apart. But look, every federation has some wonderful attributes to them. And I find that you've got to find what fits for you. You've got to sit in a place or work in an area that is going to benefit you the most. Some people, everybody wants to be an IFBB because it's the biggest, but not everybody's physique fits in with IFBB. And some people's abilities aren't suited to WBFF. So it's like some people want to be a WBFF pro, but they can't pose. They don't know how to move their bodies. They don't have great coordination, good timing, and so on. Even that likable personality on stage, that stage presence. That's if you don't have that, but you've got mass amount of muscle, then definitely there's some other fits that work well for you.
I mean, it's interesting the like you said, the marketability, right? Because I know I was watching something. I think it was on maybe a Netflix special or something. It was based on. There's an IFBB woman who's been the top bodybuilder for a long time.
Yeah. Iris?
Yeah, Iris. What's her last name?
Can't remember as well.
Yeah, Iris, right? But they closed down that division, right? So, and their reasoning was that it was unmarketable, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, so how do you feel about that? Like, do you think they should have kept that, considering where the IFBB sits and how the males at that bulk?
It's such a difficult question to really answer, because some people want that. Some people want to look like that. They want to train that hard. They're ambitious in that area. They want to have the biggest.
But usually for themselves. Rather than it being a mass. Yeah.
But then it's always great to, once you're working hard, and the competitions, they keep people focused. So having that contest at the end of the year or whatever keeps them training, keeps them improving. So they get on stage and then they can fight for the trophy or fight for the win or whatever. So it's a shame that that's been cut off for people like Iris. Because I watched a documentary and I saw... it
was a painful...
It was horrible.
Because her partner as well is Japanese guy. Yeah. And he's been up there for 20 years or something. I think he's been top 20 for 15 years or something like that.
Wow, amazing.
It's an amazing.
When he's at his best, his physique is just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
But then the size thing throws him out as far as overall mass and size.
But with regards to Iris or female bodybuilding, that they get larger and larger like that. Look, it's the same as it's any kind of extreme. Why would a person want to jump out of airplanes? It's kind of extreme. Like, think about it.
Well, it's the pinnacle of extremity in the sport.
Yeah.
So I guess for a surfer, if you were in it just for the experience, then big wave toe in surfing is probably not for you. But it is the extreme. So it's a similar sort of thing.
It's a shame because the market has changed for her, for those people. The market don't want to see that, and so therefore that's why they've shut it down. Like there's no drive from the people. The consumer isn't really after it. It's just like products that, like the video store. Nobody goes to a video store anymore. It's that kind of thing. People just change. It's just people change. And we in the past, I remember when I was growing up, my father would put bodybuilding women on stage. They'd be big, and everyone was like such a respect for these ladies. But it's just changed now. Everybody looks at a muscle. A lady who's got a lot of muscle, and then they'll say, "Oh, that doesn't look good." It's their choice. So it is a shame, but I think that's why it's doing what it's doing, and that's what's opened the door for other divisions like the bikini division that would never existed to 10 or so years ago.
And for people that don't understand the difference between the different divisions, especially for women, as far as you've got bikini and then fitness. Yep. And then actual bodybuilding. And figure, and then bodybuilding,
Okay. So the bodybuilding, I think they've changed that to like a physique in IFBB. They call it women's physique. Yeah, and you've got some incredible athletes like Dana. She's a fantastic athlete. I've seen some others that are amazing. Then Oksana.
Dana from where?
Dana Limbali.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was a great ambassador and all over social media when the physique division came out.
Yeah.
And she did very well. I don't think she won at the Olympia, but I could be wrong. But I did see her win some top shows, and she was working with a guy called George Farah. And so it was really good for the sport to keep that kind of the femininity in there with the muscle. But the way that the divisions work, that bikini division, the different federations have the different requirements. Like some feds, they are looking for a beach body, someone who looks really great in a bikini without the hard muscularity. But then IFBB bikini, those girls are ripped.
Yeah, and there's always that, because it's a little bit more heavily judged almost, that it's, how do you even judge that? Because if you are a little bit more ripped and you're in bikini and a bit more built, then how do you judge that versus the aesthetic of bikini?
Yes.
Like, who wins? It can be difficult to sort of pick that out.
I think that sometimes I've seen that they really stick to their criteria. The judging, you know, I've seen divisions, like classes and divisions, and times I've taken people to shows that the judging is spot on. Like I've had a great athlete on stage, but every single time she gets second because she's just too conditioned. She's just a little bit too muscular for that division. So they reward her, but not the first. The first goes to the one who matches their criteria most closely. But then other feds I've seen and shows I've been to where they're like the more extreme, they're going away from their criteria. So if you go on their website, or if you talk to the judging panel, and they'll tell you, this is what we're looking for, this is what we're looking for, this. And then when you see the girl who wins, I'm like, excuse me, it doesn't look like any of the stuff that you just said. So just really...
we could say that about the top level of the IFBB as far as Olympia. What's happened to aesthetic really in that, right? But it's in the eye of the beholder, but what was the criterion, and where's that sort of fallen off? Because...
Well, in Arnold's day, in that kind of 70s, 80s, 90s, they were really looking for that really good physique. They want the mass, the conditioning, and then the look. But and then for probably a decade, that went right out the window. It was about the biggest, freakiest looking.
And I think that sort of was ushered in by Dorian.
Dorian
was
Yates.
it? Dorian Yates changed the game with that, and just got extreme, and sort of changed the whole game of that. So
these guys in the IFBB and what IFBB have created, really, they've just set it all off. Because even Paul Dillette, who actually that's his federation, the WBFF. He was a top IFBB pro. So,
but did he come down for WBFF?
No, so I don't think he ever competed in WBFF. He created the organization. So it's his organization. So they've done an amazing thing for like bodybuilding and the sport in general. But that kind of extreme look seems to be like passing away, I think.
Because he was probably like the greatest before and after ever, right? Like I remember seeing heaps of the marketing. I can't remember what the supplement was, but it was
it's always
his before and after.
Kind of protein powder.
It's like an extreme difference. Do you think and he did it older, didn't he? Like I don't think he started super young. Like he was already maybe mid to early 30s when he started.
I'm not too sure how old he was, but I know that that the guys, they don't peak under 30. They really, like Ronnie Coleman, I think he won one of the Olympics around 40. So the bodybuilding takes years, especially with that kind of muscle. It takes a long time to build that amount of muscle. It takes years. And you hear the guys, they peak at 35 or they peak at 40 or
And I mean, there's I guess the time to build that sort of muscle base, but also what about the testosterone? Your testosterone level sort of drops at certain times, doesn't it?
Well, that's true, but like testosterone boosters now, there are some really good ones to keep your testosterone levels high as you're aging. But and then some of the guys are probably using exogenous testosterone as well. So
what is that for the viewers?
Pardon?
What is the exogenous?
So it'd be TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, or but basically
so actually
steroid,
sort of taking some sort of actual testosterone.
But we can't accuse people of doing that. But that's if you're constantly getting bigger and bigger as time goes by, and then you don't want the testosterone to affect you, or your decline in testosterone. That's what the guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly found I think for me, the easiest time of my life was probably between about 22 and 25 to actually put on bulk.
Yeah.
But, but I train, I think I can train harder now.
Yeah.
But, there was that period there where it just felt really easy. And I sort of put it down to testosterone.
Yeah.
But, But you know, if you look at the graphs of how it goes on down on average,
Yeah.
people say that if you do a bit of testosterone therapy and it keeps you on a flat line at that younger level, is that going to make all the difference, do you think? Or?
You know, I would recommend against any kind of exogenous testosterone, a TRT. I believe that you can boost your natural testosterone levels to the highest point in the range, and I myself have experienced that. Last year I was going, like, I felt a bit strange. I felt a bit funny, and I don't normally go to the doctor and have a whinge, but went to the doctor and I said, listen, I just don't feel so good, like something not right in me. Please, can I just have a blood test? You know, from, like, I want to just know everything, like tell me everything. And then when I got the results back from what I was doing with regards to my training and the eating, that I, like how I was dieting and the supplements I was using, the testosterone was actually above the highest, and all the other levels were perfect. So my free testosterone was high, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that's the point that I make. It's like, I don't believe that if you take a TRT and you injecting it or putting it into your body is as good as your body making its own from its pure source. So you think about the quality of what your body produces versus the quality that you're going to get from a test tube. It's not, you can't really compare the two. So if you can get your body functioning perfectly through supplements maybe, but nutrition and correct exercise, and we can go to talk about correct exercise as well today, but there are ways that you can push your testosterone levels down through exercise, and you can push your testosterone levels up through exercise. And then it's, so yeah. So
let's do them separately, I guess. So if you had to look at just the diet stuff to start with, what is going to get your testosterone to its sort of peak sort of level? How can you manufacture that, and can you do it quickly, or? Well, the first thing to do is to cut out anything that's going to drop your testosterone. So anything that's going to lower it. So you don't want any processed foods, and no sugars as well. Like, and then alcohol. You want to avoid alcohol and things like some people smoke. So stop smoking. So stop doing the things that would just lower testosterone. Then you start to do things like changing from, don't microwave any foods in plastic. Try not to store food in plastic. Because that's a big one, right? This plastic. What is it? Because I had a friend who's a engineer who I was just discussing this with, and I was like, people are saying this plastic is bad. He's like, nah. And then went and had a look at it, all the write-ups on it. And then I just see him trucking out all his plastics.
That's right. Hilarious. So, look, all of this stuff is to do with our bodies. We've got estrogen in our body, which starts to get out of balance when you have plastics in your life. We've got some, we've got heaps of chemicals that are around us now. Body fat, high levels of body fat, processed sugars, anything, all those processed foods and sugars and artificial this, artificial that. All these things are wreaking havoc inside of our bodies. So if we can just avoid doing them, then our bodies will start to get into a better balance. So plastic's one of those things to avoid if you want to get on top of your controlling estrogen. And then when you start to add food in, so then you've removed the bad stuff, the stuff that's going to hinder testosterone production, and other things like stress and not sleeping enough. Those kinds of things. You need to be sleeping enough. You need to make sure that you're controlling your stress, and then to increase testosterone, you've got to eat the right kinds of food. So my diets that my meal plans and my nutritional advice that I give to people is the healthiest way forward. So what I try to do is I try to fix their body's chemical reactions and actions and functions by making sure they've got every micronutrient that they require for those functions. So for me, micronutrients comes first. The foods that you choose, you've got to get all your micronutrients in first. Then we can look at the macronutrients for body composition and so on. But foods that are going to help, things that are high in zinc, tomatoes and eggs. I remember when I was eggs of one of
tomatoes. Didn't know that one.
Yeah, tomatoes.
Yeah,
zinc and my dad used to.
But zinc supplements. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you can have zinc ZMA, which is a great bedtime one. My dad used to say. I remember when I was young. He's just like, eat your eggs. Just eat eggs. He's like,
with the yolks,
the whole thing.
Yep.
You got to eat the whole egg.
And there's no the thoughts on cholesterol have changed.
Definitely,
relatively recently. Bad absorption and actual blood cholesterol.
Well, like I've studied that too. Like everything that that we've gone through over the last 20 years regarding nutrition and the changes. I've spent heaps of time researching it myself, and the cholesterol in your blood, it's only 20% of it comes from the food that you eat. So the 80% is what you're actually making. So when your body's not functioning, either these chemical reactions and actions that I was talking about, if your body's not doing that right, then you run that risk of creating or producing extra cholesterol. So every cell in your body has the ability to make cholesterol. Your skin makes a lot, your liver makes a lot. But when people are eating high sugary foods that really kind of put pressure on the liver, then your liver will start to produce extra cholesterol. And especially the link between like insulin and cholesterol, there's a massive link there. So when the insulin is out of control, then cholesterol tends to go up. Yeah.
And overall, supplements wise, like we touched on zinc, is the what's your sort of beliefs on supplements? Because I do hear people saying it's all about getting that right supplement sort of stack per se.
Yeah, I love it. I think supplements are good, and they do help, but unless a person's got the training right, unless they've got their nutrition right, look, there's no point in looking at supplements. They're kind of something to add to increase performance, to improve performance, not to create performance. They're there to make an improvement, but they're not there to substitute the basics. You've got the three basics. If you're sleeping enough, you're training correctly, and you're eating correctly. So based on your goal, you've got to do those three things well.
Which one do you think people find hardest? Or is it a bit of everything, different for everyone?
I think people don't know how to eat. Like, they don't want to eat right. Like, that's probably the hardest one. People don't eat right.
I'd have to agree with that for me.
It's just, everybody wants to eat whatever.
Yeah.
They don't realize, actually, the funniest thing is, you know why they don't realize? Because they've not done it. They've not done it for like a substantial amount of time to see the huge benefits. Now, what I mean by a substantial amount of time, 3 weeks. 3 weeks without eating wrong.
Right.
3 weeks is enough.
So once you've got through that, does it become easier, you think?
Well, it depends on your personality and what you really want out of this. Some people really like socializing, and for them, when they socialize, they have to have a beer in their hand, or they have to have a glass of wine, or they have to be eating something that's deep fried, and they have to be, see what I mean? They've got this mindset of, if I socialize, I have to be doing that. Whereas when your mindset changes, like the way I see things, I've been out on like a night out with friends, and I'm drinking water, or drinking diet Coke or whatever. I'm not drinking alcohol because it's not going to benefit me in my goal. So I can socialize and I have a great time with the people, just as much as if I was drinking, probably even better, because I don't start to feel funny. My conversation is the same from the beginning to the end.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I did a period of about 7 months, right, where I just did zero alcohol. There's just massive changes. And I'm not a huge drinker, but I enjoy a beer. But what I found was, after a 3-month period, I just got a total clarity of thought.
Wow.
That was a change I didn't expect.
Wow.
And a huge amount of weight loss as well.
That's a great testimony. And then, so that there is just this evidence. So it's for yourself.
But it took a long time. Like, it took quite a while.
12 weeks, 3 months.
To get really,
But still, like, think about
I'd say 20% difference.
End result is massive.
But as you say, I would go out, and I would go out with a drink, with a water, and there's a massive cultural difficulty with that. It makes people feel very uncomfortable if you don't drink, which is pretty odd, because I'd still have a good time. It's not like I was sitting there not interacting. And you get used to that as well. And
I think that people get used to that too. Friends and family, they get used to that too. I've not been in a situation where people pressure me to do something because they know me as a person who can have fun with them without. I've been in prep mode, and I've gone to like a ball, and then they put the food on the table, and I'll just eat what I'm meant to eat. So, but they wouldn't make that much of a fuss. They wouldn't, because they know me. That's my character. My character is to be disciplined, and my goal is greater than the food. What I'm trying to achieve is is more important than right now. And the thing is, every time you break and go off on the wrong kinds of foods, or you never feel good after. Like no one ever said, "Oh, I ate all that bad food and I felt great after." You know, maybe people that are like.
Well, it's with the diet that you guys have given us. It's the volume's so much different, but it's so much cleaner.
Yeah.
That when I'm chomping through it, I'm sitting there just going, I couldn't eat anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a funny feeling to have when you know you're losing weight on a diet, to be not being able to get through all your food.
I love that. Like, you're not the only one who said that. You know, I've had people say, like, I'm never hungry. If they say that they're hungry, I'm like, well, you got to eat more, but you got to eat more of these foods. Yeah, so it's great. Like, you shouldn't actually be walking around hungry. You don't need to be. I'm not saying that you need to feel stuffed, but when you're eating healthily, your body's going to respond and you're going to get great results. And you don't need to be starving yourself. That's something I go totally against. I go totally against pushing your body to too much of an extreme. So we make changes, get the body doing what it wants to do, because the body wants to do it. It really wants to. When people say I've got cravings for bad stuff, I bet you it's not the body wanting it. It's like you literally have got this habit, you know, or this addiction, or this kind of mental thing that you can't break over a food group. And the thing is, I speak from experience because I've been there myself. And that's why I can do what I do so well with people, because I've been there. Like, whatever I give to people, I know what they've been through, and that's why.
Do you find still, as a professional that does this, you know, eating is part of your profession, you still have ebbs and flows of how well you'd want to do it? Or do you feel that you can get it to a level of basic perfection all the time, or to a standard you want it all the time? Because I feel like I go through periods of time where I'm like, it's not doing so well, then I've got more time and I get back better, you know? I
think it just depends on your relationship with food and your kind of what you're trying to get out of your nutrition. Are you feeding your body? You're fueling your body? Are you fighting disease? Or are you eating for pleasure? Are you emotionally eating? Is it like a boredom thing? You've got to get that right mindset. Once you get that mindset, yes, I think that you can get your food to perfection. But what is perfection? It's really dependent on like some people say that's perfect, and this person, oh no, that's perfect, this is perfect. And that's the thing about nutrition. You get these. Is it super complicated? Keto, no, it's not actually that complicated. It's pretty simple. Now that I've been doing this for so long, and I've seen so many things come and go with regards to nutrition. But it's a lot of the extreme stuff that there's some good stuff, but like it's crazy stuff. I just go a bit crazy on one way, and I've done that myself. Like I decided I'm not going to eat any carbohydrates. Wow. Yeah, just no. What happens when that happens? Yeah, it didn't feel good. No. No. And you lose some weight. Well, of it. Lost a bit of water, definitely. Carbs retain water, and performance went down, and So the zero carb thing is just never really. Zero carbs. What's the point? There's no. You don't need to do that. No, you don't need to do that. You don't need to. Interesting. In fact, so that'd be a myth. Would that be one of the myths of I'd say bodybuilding, that you'd have to go zero carb in that last lead up to a competition? Well, the thing about it is that people don't do just like a few days. I mean, if you do like a carb deplete with a carb load, there is science behind that. It's backed up by science. It's proven it can work. You can cause super compensation of up to 1.5 times what you had before if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you spill over or you end up being flat. It's very extreme. So there is science that shows that it can work, but how extreme people do it really depends. Like that determines whether they nail it, and it's a risk. It's too risky. So I don't do that with. I don't do anything extreme with my clients. But carbs, low carbs, and a lot of people do this. They go carb free or like low carb, no carbs for months. Or they try and do like 6 days a week no carbs and 1 day carbs, and it's like. Or super low, at least, like a caveman type diet. Yeah, the caveman. And I believed a lot in that. I was eating like that for a long time. But when I prepped for my pro card last year, I was eating 500 grams of carbs per day, getting leaner and leaner and getting bigger and bigger. So my muscular volume was increasing, performance was increasing, and it wasn't being affected. My fat was going down. Now, how did I do that on 500 grams of carbs a day? Do you see what I mean? So if you know what you're doing, you can keep a lot of carbs in your diet, you can have high performance, you can get great results doing it that way. But when you drop all the carbs out, which is your body's primary, like it's the best source of energies, glycogen. First, that's what it was.
Clean. So that was one of the things that blew me away about the new diet is having so much potato and looking at it and going, it's actually not that many calories. When I think of something like chips, as a lot of calories,
deep fried,
but
stuff.
it's oil, right?
Yeah, that's right. But and it also it decreases in size, like in weight. So it dehydrates the chip as well. So it increases it with fat, but it also decreases the size. So 100 grams of potato chips versus 100 grams of boiled, which all the water's still inside. So there's the difference as well. So people don't really know how much they're eating.
So when you say doing your lead up to a competition or the way you exercise with the carbs, the change in the way that I've been exercising now is going from like bodybuilding as far as just weightlifting, but with breaks, so I'm not sweating and all that, to just 45 minutes of still heavy-ish weight, but 6 session sweating, rolling around on the ground crying at you.
That's Vanessa.
But that's, she's amazing.
She's good, eh?
But what is, if we thought traditionally wait and then do your cardio or walking or whatever it is later, what should be that balance be? If you're going for the best looking physique, as far as, WBFF stuff, what would you say that sort of mix should be, or what's the basics of how people should be feeling when they actually work out?
So what you're asking is the balance between how much weight to do, how much cardio to do to create that physique.
Split them, together.
All right. Well, this is interesting because last year, while I was prepping, I didn't do any cardio. So high carbs, no cardio.
No cardio.
How did that work?
Yeah.
Do you see? So
well, I'm not even sure if I'm doing cardio now because we're lifting weights through the workout. Yeah. And I'm sweating and panting.
So your body, there we go.
Is that cardio?
Yeah. So your body temperature's up, and your rest periods are low. The intensity's high, and I suppose that's it's a kind of unique style that we've created, that I've been able to come up with over the years. So that we can just take one training session and get all the benefits that you need from your one training session. Unless you're doing cardiovascular for your heart and your lung function and your ability, like there is that area that that's really important. And some people for cardiovascular health, they need to just do steady state cardio, get the heart rate up, keep it there, or do interval, get the heart rate to move up and down.
Should they do that on a treadmill or walking? Or?
So I believe that walking
is that for an age difference? Like if you were trying to get fit for something, or like because you're talking about the health, cardio health, vascular health, right?
But I would make them walk outside because it's good for mental health as well. So standing on a treadmill, that's not going to do much for your health, mental health. So getting them to walk outside, look at the nature, that's awesome. Along the coast, brilliant. And they get that cardiovascular, but they need to be able to push themselves. They need to, up the hills, they need to be going to try to get that result. But with regards to transforming the physique, making the physique look as good as it can look without overtraining, without jeopardizing muscle mass, I believe that you can get all of that in a short 45-minute workout, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I actually have a pro athlete. She just became a pro in the ICN. I train her 4 times a week for 30 minutes.
So 4 times a week, 30 minutes?
4 30-minute workouts.
And that's not going to change up until... Will there be changes at this sort of lead up to competition start end?
There are some methods that I use with regards to training that can, if somebody's holding on, I'll get them to do 30 minutes daily. But the majority of the people don't need to do that, so they'll have their rest days and they'll do 30 minutes short, intense workouts.
And they're pretty intense.
They are intense. They're
like
tough.
like sort of balls to the wall intense.
They're intense to the. They're going to transform you for sure. They're going to get you results. They're going to stimulate muscle in the right areas. I always focus on weak points with the girls. And with the guys, I'll split the body up. So they'll do different muscle groups on different days, but it's that short, intense work. What we're looking for is muscle activation, so we can create some microfibril tears. That's really intense, really focused on one area of the body. And then we'll give it a good chance to rest and recover, and we'll feed it, make sure that it repairs well for the next workout.
So your split's quite key with that, as far as the time of rest, right? Because it's just, do some body parts go do they recover quicker, like your biceps, triceps, or arms sort of things, or I think calves, right?
I think it goes from person to person, knowing when to hit that muscle again. But you kind of can't go wrong if you're setting it up on a 5 or 6 day rotation, and then you just keep going like that. And if you need a rest day, you chuck a rest day in. But it's just as long as you shoot, and the movements that you do. This is like where the real skill comes into the training. Is where, because you could do chest, and then the next day you could do shoulders. But it's how you do chest that will allow you to do shoulders, and how you do shoulders will allow you to do shoulders on the day after chest. So if you just, jump into the gym and just, move some heavy weights on a flat bench, on a, incline press, whatever, and you go crazy on that, the next day you're not going to be able to do shoulder press. You shouldn't. Well, I wouldn't do it.
But you could do maybe a decline. And hit that bottom.
But then hit. So then the delt workout, the shoulder workout the following day will be more of a pulling kind of movement, or based on pulling movements, rather than trying to hit the same muscles that were involved in the assistance of training chest.
Okay.
So it's
more like a fly up,
side
rather
raises
than
and fold, like in positioning your body in the right places, right ways, so that you avoid working the front delt if you've done chest the day before. So things like that. That's really like skill, experience, and that's where our members, they benefit so much from.
I mean, it's certainly something that has opened my eyes, having trained for almost probably 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. And the total change going into PT. And I say this to people now, I say, look, I totally didn't believe in PT at all, because I just couldn't see the value in the time, right? And going time versus money. But looking at the goal that I want to achieve, I actually realized I was throwing away money into donating it to a gym and never going in, or not getting that result.
That's fair. The gym donor.
So at that point, I looked at it, and I really it's just changed the way that I think about what is, if I'm going to consume a fitness product, what is it going to be, right? And it's a total game changer as far as fitness.
It's fantastic.
So that's something I got to thank you guys for.
Well, it's really great to have you with us, and being able to help you achieve your goals.
And only an early part of the journey, really. So there's still a lot to do there. But for you guys, as far as in the industry, when you get people in, I often wonder, because I was so unfit as far as cardiovascular fitness to get through, but also muscularly way out of where I have been. Not playing any actual, because I'd moved into rugby, done a lot of that, so there was a lot of fitness and lifting and squats and all that stuff there. But how hard it's been getting back in. Like the first month is total nightmare, right? As far as just feeling awful for days and all that stuff. What do you do for people coming in who have just never really worked out? They're totally out of shape, a little bit older, in their sort of late 30s or 40s now, coming into that. Do you have to walk them into it slowly? And
definitely.
Because otherwise they'll neg out at the start, right?
True, So, I've had, I was experienced this when I was young as a personal trainer. I just would train people very hard, and some of them would struggle with walking, just being able to walk
properly.
To walk, like walking would be sore because I train their legs so hard. But
I definitely have experienced that over the last month.
But I got smarter as I got a bit older, and so So yeah, like what the process we take people through, and then how we get them into fitness. I mean, that's a main area of our business, is trying to get people from the couch into a consistent, healthy lifestyle. And that healthy lifestyle really leads them through either weight loss or performance or health, and then getting them, making them happy. So that's really like how we wanted to. So a lot of our members are that person, and so the way we do it, we're very we're gentle. We are gentle, but we're very much focused on mindset. Very much focused on, we've made a decision now, and it's going to be tough. So you need to be prepared for that. So that's the first thing I said to people. You're going to be sore, but that's okay. You know, your first workout, it's going to be tender, but that's okay. Don't worry about that, because all you need to do is come back in and do another workout, and then you'll feel better. And then when they say,
this is true too.
It's true.
Because even for me, doing the first 3 weeks of squats and lunges and all that, and just being in pain, dire pain, it does feel better after that next workout. Yeah. Even if you saw walking in, it's just the blood rolling through it all seems to.
So that's what we try to do, is we try to get people, like, in the first 3 weeks to get past that pain. Usually it only takes about a week. So the first 5 days, and I've got some programs where I get people to come in, and I get them to train 5 days in a row. Never trained before, and I get them to train 5 days in a row.
And it's a rough gig.
And after the third day, they're like, they come in and they're feeling a little bit nervous now, because they know how sore they are. But then by day 5,
I've had that feeling.
By day 5, they're like, I can't believe this. My pain is subsiding, and so the body is incredible, and it's got this way of adapting to our environment or surroundings, and it's kind of good for people like them, not so good for people who want to be super strong and super big, because it kind of like builds a resistance to everything that you do. So there's kind of protection against putting you through that pain again. So that's why when you train to improve performance, you actually have to try and reach that performance, the best performance, and try to improve on that best performance all the time. And that's why when you start out training, your strength goes up and your fitness goes up really quickly, and then you hit, then you like peak. And from that peaking point, that's where the skill and the consistency and the experience, you need to be surrounded by the right kind of people who can take you then onto the next level. But we are kind of gentle, but mindset's the number one thing for us. I want people to just change the way they used to be in their heads first, and then they'll change what they do going forward.
And the cooking for people, like, do they find it a challenge to?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, everybody.
Because I mean, we do. My wife does the meal preps, right? But it wasn't markedly different to what we do now. But it's cleaner, and the volume and the measuring and doing it individually every night. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more there. But and she's found it just a little bit time consuming. But there's always some way around that sort of thing. So
that's right. There are ways that you can make it more sustainable. So, and we've got a very simple way we prep. We only prep once a week. My wife and I. Well, my wife.
No, that's what we've started doing. Well, we've rejigged the once a week prep.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah,
you should say your wife.
Yeah, my wife. I look after the baby. Yeah. I do my dad's duties.
It has to be done.
And so. Look, it's like this. It's like any kind of change to a person's life is going to be difficult when they've not been doing something. So meet a person that's 40 years old, and they've been, for the last 20 years, and they moved out of home, been eating a certain way. And then they come and sit down with me, and I say to them, okay, the reason why you're unhappy with yourself is because of what you've been doing to yourself for the last 20 years. Now, for the next half of your life, if you follow this and you do it like this, and through the experience that we have, take on these new principles, it's not going to be easy, but if you do it, it becomes super easy. Yeah. So
it's that initial band-aid, really, that period of time. And how long do you reckon that is shift. Mostly for people to change all the mindset with that?
It's up to them. Yeah. Some people it doesn't change. So it's up to the person. They need to make that decision. This is, okay, that's the old me, this is the new me. And that's it. And if they don't do that, then they'll get some results, and then they'll just backslide, go back into that kind of way of, and that's what recently I wrote a blog on why most diets make you fatter. because of the way that they get people to eat on these diets to get them their quick results, so that they go, oh wow, this diet's amazing, and then they end up not being able to continue doing it because it's so difficult, because it's not enough food, or it's not, they drop out a food group, or they many food groups, or they drop out a macronutrient completely, like low carb. Let's follow the ketogenic diet, and then they go on this thing, and they're just like, all of a sudden they're 27 kilos heavier. You know, then
because they drop off it.
Yeah,
or
because they go back too hard. And then when they go back, it's like you know, like I've read this, and I use this as an example because this is very true. A lot of rehabilitated drug addicts usually overdose after they've had rehab and gone back to,
because the rehab is
drug.
Too much.
Because when they go back, they go back to the doses of drugs that they were taking when they stopped. Then before they went into rehab. So then they OD because they're used to that high volume. So then people will go back and they just go nuts again on the food. You know, nuts again on like it's usually like something. It's usually one or two things, like chocolate.
Well, I was discussing, I have a friend that has done that cut down and then just gone nuts on stuff, on heavy food, not healthy food.
No.
And I found that once I've gone onto your diet, I've gone, okay, might try a burrito tonight. I've been good for a couple of weeks and not enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I'll tell Vanessa.
Yeah.
You had a burrito.
I didn't put that in the app. But yeah, I think there is that goal. I mean, certainly with my brother he's just been building muscle, building up, and he looks good. Like, he's gotten very big. But I think to really tighten it up, he needed that specific date type goal. Yeah. And I think that's changed the game for him in that sense.
He seems super motivated now.
But also, like, if say for women coming into DYP after, say, pregnancy and then coming back, it's not just the physical thing of getting back in shape, but there's also physiological things. But it was pretty crazy, and we'll put it up on screen, the before and afters. Some of the before and afters are quite epic of your stuff, and I often wonder if some of the things that happen physiologically with women later in life are from not getting through recovery in that postpartum period. You know, the sort of prolapsing and those sorts of things, and I think there's got to be a huge benefit.
Definitely.
To sucking the shape back in, sort of thing. In fact, my wife follows this Instagram model who she just had a baby. This was the world's biggest pregnancy, like, it was huge. Baby came out, and then she had a lot of stretching of her abs. Okay. So when she pulled in tight, she'd have a tight, flat, and this is a full-on professional. But then if she let it out, it would droop right over. And it's taken and so, like, she went through it. It wasn't like her as a professional just snap back into shape, and some women do. Yeah. She also had these other physiological struggles aside from the actual normal diet, exercise, muscular stuff. But she's also tightened that. That's also recovered itself over time. And I wonder if she had never been in that mode, if she would have just been left with that, you know, almost like a disfigurement in a way. Wow.
Well, no,
We'll bring up pictures of that one, just so people can sort of see, because it's a really interesting. It's a physiological difference. Yeah.
I'd love to see the images.
Her name is. If I had my phone on me, I'd pull it up. It'll come to me in a minute, but we'll stick it on screen.
It'll take a bit of time. When you're doing the correct exercises, the postnatal exercises, you must be ready to do them, obviously. Girls mustn't just jump in and expect to be able to do exercises that they were doing before they fell pregnant, or even sometimes during pregnancy. I've had members training like the same all the way through to a week before the baby.
Yeah, and you see this on Instagram as well. It's another thing where you see pregnant women squatting 100 kilos or something. And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the body's releasing a hormone to relax the ligaments. So I wouldn't train someone like that. So for us, the number one thing for us is safety, and then second is results.
But still some training, you think, in pregnancy
Yeah,
to
definitely.
keep them fit?
You definitely should be training. Well, if you've been training before the pregnancy, there's no reason why you should stop training during pregnancy. Pregnancy is not an illness. It's just it's a natural process of life, and so therefore continue training, and then only if things start to go haywire, which hopefully they shouldn't if your nutrition's good, like blood pressure rising, or I know of people having a few complications and had to stop training. But in general, like we're talking about just a healthy person that's continue with training. Don't stop training, but also modify your training. You got to modify. You can't just expect to continue doing box jumps and snatch, squat, because it's just like your body's doing some stuff, and your hormones are very powerful. These messengers, these messengers in your body, they're just so powerful. A whole makeup, gender is based around changing those hormones. It's just those hormonal changes, obviously genetic, that causes those hormones to be released, but it's just the hormones that do these things. When guys have too much estrogen, what happens? They start to grow breasts. Well, that's what women have. To see what I mean? So they're very powerful. But anyway, so these hormones that your body a lady's body, women's body will release, will relax the ligaments to create space for the birthing canal. And so I wouldn't do that with people. And then post, I would do the assessment to see when they could start to doing exercises, and then obviously training them correctly as they can rehabilitate their body back to full fitness. And I had a guy in the UK who was he was a specialist in maternity, or he was something like that, gynecology. I don't think it's one of those, it's just that he was some specialist, and he was training at our gym, and he was saying to me that it takes 18 months for a woman's body to get back to normal after the baby.
On average.
Yeah, that's what they say on average.
But without any, if they're training, or if they're doing if they're actually actively working on it.
So that's right. If you're actively working on it, you probably bring that time right down. But it's incredible a woman's body, what it can go through, and then it can get back to. It just blows my mind.
Amazing.
And what they can go through mentally versus what us guys can go through. I've seen my wife give birth 3 times.
It's a hard gig. I don't think most men would make it.
No. No. I've watched some social media post where guys have been like, they have these machines attached to them to try to replicate the pain. Yeah. And you see the screams. The screams are the best.
Yeah, I'm definitely in trouble because sometimes I'm looking at night and I hear this laughing, and I turn over and it's always my wife watching baby videos on Instagram, which is it's a real problem. But yeah, it is something like that I see a lot, because we do, like, she follows so many Instagram models in the fitness area. Sort of aspiring to do it at some point. I guess coming up now, she's joined with you guys, and I do wonder about that. How much training should they really do, and that type of stuff. But overall, it sounds like in a big way it's just a mindset and getting back in. I mean, those Instagram models are professionals, so they do have a vested interest to go through that journey and get back into shape. And it was really interesting to see that there is, even for the professionals, there's super challenges in that area.
It is. It's just, you go. Pregnancy is not. Don't matter who you are. It's gonna do stuff to your body. You just can imagine and the hormonal changes, and the actual baby, which is like 3-4 kilograms you're carrying in your body. It's not going to be the same. You're going to have to try to work hard to get it back to where it was.
What about kids and ages with weightlifting and that type of thing? Because there's a lot of different thoughts on it.
Well, I wasn't fully grown at 15, and I was lifting max weights. Never affected me. But to be honest, I've never actually seen a person, and I've never met someone. I've never that they've been affected by it. Does that make sense? I've never actually seen someone
stunted growth or an
Yeah.
issue or a bone structure
and
issue.
that's so I've been in the industry for a long time. I've never seen it.
Mm.
So there is that I think that the thing to be concerned about is that the epiphyseal plate inside the bones, once they get damaged, they stop growing. The bone will stop growing. So when it's the epiphyseal plate is still, I think it's just kind of like soft, and then it hardens as you get to your full size or full height or whatever. But that's the difference. If your epiphyseal plate is not damaged, the bone will keep on growing until it's genetically designed to grow. But if that gets damaged, and kids can jump from a tree, land funny and break and crack it, damage their femur, and they could have a stunted growth in their leg. So it's like, I myself, I don't believe that kids need to be lifting weights. Like, get them to climb trees and get them to do chin-ups and push-ups and jumping and sprinting.
But I mean, for sport-wise, if they were, say, doing let's say they're playing rugby from 15 up.
I think bodyweight training is essential for them. So for 15, 15 you could probably start lifting. Yeah, I think 15 is a good
sort of baseline.
Yeah, a good age to start lifting. But then again, you're not doing 1 rep max stuff. Like, you got to be smart in everything that you do. And so, because that thing is, I've been through it. That's why I speak like this, because I've been there. I've been the dumb one. I've been the one that's like 1 rep max. I used to walk past the bench press and there'd be 65 kilos on, and I was like 15 years old. Every time I walk past the bench press, I lie down, do 1 rep, put it back.
But it's
no
funny.
warm-up.
What's interesting? I mean, I never did that. Anywhere, for some reason, I'd never been interested in. I think I was afraid to see what my 1 rep max was going to be. I mean, I got up to reasonable weights on a lot of things, but I've never done. But what I did find was that if I had a weak spot in the gym, chins was one of my weak ones.
Yeah.
Just being body to mass ratio,
It's
right?
not easy, that one.
So what I was doing was every time I walked past it, I'd do as many as I could.
Okay.
Just in other workouts.
Yeah.
And then I found that doing the total number was helping me get it out.
Yeah.
So and then when I came to workout, instead of doing, say, the 12 I was aiming at, I might do 5 and 5 and 2.
Yeah.
Until I could do 6 and 5 and 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way
to push yourself up to that.
Definitely.
Just to get there.
Definitely. You got to keep on pushing yourself if you want to get better at something. It's just, and the chin-up is a difficult exercise in general. The CrossFitters, have you seen the CrossFitters do their chin-ups?
No. Well, like,
I'm not having you go.
The pull and then...
Yeah. No,
those
are muscle-ups. Those are good ones. But
muscle-ups is never
they do
gonna
that
happen with me.
kind of swinging.
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I've watched the...
Yeah.
I never had... I was like, what's
CrossFit?
this exercise?
No?
Yeah. No.
What do you think?
I think it's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I watched Rich Froning. Like, I watched a documentary on him, and before that, I was just a bit like, I'm not sure. These guys they're going a bit crazy and stuff. I'm like, I don't really see... and then when I watched him, I was like, wow, I have lots of respect for him and the sport, and I think that it's excellent. I think it's so good, like CrossFit Games and what they do and the different... I'd love to do it, but I know I know that it would disrupt my aesthetics, so I wouldn't have the same aesthetics if I got on stage if I was doing a CrossFit program. But I'm a performance kind of person. Like, I used to do powerlifting, so I would go to competitions and try to lift as heavy as I could. I love that. I love it. And I've got like just a natural fitness, so I can run, I can jump, I can do those things. So I would actually love to try CrossFit.
Like functional fitness.
Yeah, that functional fitness.
But I mean, I think the reason people do it is because you get that fitness high, right?
Yeah.
Like the running high from the end, and I had not had this for years and years until I had started with you guys, but then I'm dying in your sessions, like crying, but then I'm getting the running high in my martial arts sessions.
Yeah, awesome.
So I'm feeling like pumped at the end, that
so
euphoria.
Good. Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling and I just completely lost how to get to that. You know?
Yeah, that's excellent.
Which is really interesting.
And that's what I love about sport. I love that. And that's sort of like the CrossFit's like it's sport, and that's awesome.
Awesome. So I guess the thing I'd want to finish on is like with DYP, so Design Your Physique.
Yes.
What's the sort of story? Like, when did you start that? Why begin it? Why change up the way people do things?
Okay. So my walk through the fitness industry started in South Africa. I worked in a gym which did personal training, and that's what I did. I taught classes, and I used to do personal training. From there, I went to the UK. I worked in one of the biggest European clubs. centers. They're like 6,000 members. Beautiful setup.
Wow.
Amazing place. And I was personal training there. And from that, and their setup was, they had the swimming pool, they had the spa, they had massage, they had a physio, they had a restaurant, it was like the business.
The full-on suite.
Yeah, it was like, and it was.
And I see those, and I
expensive.
wonder how does the economics work for
and
that?
They got like 5,500 members. It was nuts.
Wow.
And so I had that experience working in that kind of environment, and then I went from there. I went to London and I worked at a Fitness First. So I was personal training again, and that setup is kind of like it's kind of like functional. That's quick in and out train. Like it was in the city. People would come in, they'd get on the cardio machines, do some weights, go shower, go. It was very quick, easy. It's like a fast food, but they're probably gonna be like, oh, you know, fast food. No. It's just that's hard.
But you certainly you see that with these chains. I mean, there's been changes to the whole
yes.
way that it's all worked. I mean, I remember when the first 24-hour gyms came out, and I was like, it's a good idea, but it's also very economical for them.
Yeah.
But then I also find is they've probably got a massive number of gym donors that are just donating their money to those gyms without the results, like I was, you know.
That's right. You're one of them. So then from Fitness First, went to South Africa, worked in a very, very posh location. Not saying that other people aren't posh. What I was saying is that it was like in a golf estate, high-end product. The equipment, it was just beautiful. You walk into the little gym.
This is in South Africa?
Yeah, it was just like, wow.
Where in South Africa? In Pretoria?
That was in Joburg.
Oh, Joburg.
Yeah. Stunning. And we had personal training again. And then I did mobile training. I drove to people's houses and drove from one city to the next city. You know, like one day a week I'd drive to the next city and train people because there's a demand and all over the place, Joburg and Pretoria. And then went to the UK, opened our own gym. And our little gym it was 300 square meters gym. We were trying to compete with the kind of gyms because we offered a bit of classes and we offered the cardio area and we offered this and it was pretty good. We got up to about 300 members, which was quite good. But and that was quite chilled and relaxed. But again, it's like same as everything. Came here to the Australia, started working at Good Life. And I just thought one day, like, you know, there's areas of the fitness industry that will never go away, and there's areas of the fitness industry that are gonna slowly phase out. So I know that people want something personal because people don't get results if they're not kept accountable, and so that
was my sort of thing that I realized, and it is a bit of a change, you know, and I think about marketing in the same way for our company, that there's so many companies that are like, here's the product, off you go, good luck with that. But then there's a difference between that and following it all the way through, which is what we try to do with people. I know it's very similar to the way you work with your clients. That's
exactly right. So, you know, in most gyms, people, I think it's like, the average gym goer will go 3.5 times a year. And
3.5
workouts per year. This is the average gym goer in a normal kind of...
But they have that gym membership just chipping away there.
That's right. So you can think about how much money they're spending and how much money they're wasting.
Per workout, if you spend $2,000 or $1,500 on a gym membership, it's a good $750 workout.
It's a very expensive workout.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, so I get 95% of our members train. So our members use our facilities. They come for their personal training. They come for their group personal training. They use the service. There's a very small amount of people who don't. So you could just imagine the kind of effect that we can have on that, like the people, because the product actually gets them doing stuff. You know, like I'm not selling something that they're not going to use. You know, so
I've certainly found that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no missing a workout, and that's what I love about it as well. So the accountability is just a different mindset with ZYP. So
it's fantastic. I'm glad that, you know, like it's what I love the most about what we've done is when I hear members saying what I say. When like before I've even said it, they've said it. You know, and so I stepped back and looked at the industry, and I was like, okay, so what what's this industry doing? And I thought, okay, well, personal training, and it's not a fashionable thing. It's not in fashion. It's not out of fashion. My wife calls it grey because there's it's always going to be around. It's a product. It's a premium product. It's people, because they can't get results. They will always be looking for results, and eventually they'll try everything under the sun, and then they'll give up and they'll throw in the towel and they go, okay, I've got to actually get some expert advice. Same as in your business, I'm sure that people will. And I've tried to do marketing, and I'm clueless. I don't know what I'm doing with marketing. Make mistakes, do this, spend money here.
But I guess it's the fast track to getting there as well, having a professional. Yeah,
that's right. And so that's what people will always eventually end up looking for. That if they're really serious, they're going to find a mentor and someone to teach them and help them. If they're really serious. If they're not serious, then no, they won't do it. So, and then the thing is, so personal training is a fantastic product, but then how can we make it that it's super affordable, that people can get all the benefits, and then we created this group personal training. So the group personal training, it's not a class, it's a personal training session. So there'll be 8 people maximum in the group, and the trainer, the personal trainer, will not have a document that someone else has written out for these people. They will be able to, through my teaching them, my training the trainer, and the expertise and the experience I have, giving it to them so that they can look at all 8 people in the group and go, okay, this is going to be the workout today based on whoever's here. So based on you guys that are here, this is how I'm going to train you. This is what we're going to do. And then, so there's the theme in the workout of the group PT is body transformation. So body transformation requires high performance, high intensity, moderate impact. All workouts are always low risk. We don't, risk injury when we do these workouts. But the goal is to transform the body. So what does that mean? It means that your abs are going to be hit. It's going to mean your glutes are going to be hit. It's going to mean your legs are going to work. It means your back's going to work. It's going to
almost all the areas I find hard. Yeah, which I'm doing now.
Yeah.
You're learning to love the abs. It's definitely part of it.
People will finish up doing group PT and they've got better posture. How did we do that? Because it's body transformation. That's why we train people. And we're very smart in how we do the workouts. So the way we, like women and men, train differently because their muscle groups and the emphasis of their body, guys don't really want to walk around with a big butt, but girls, they love that. Maybe some girls.
The booty generation.
The booty generation.
Yeah. Because in the 80s it was all about skinny.
Yeah, they want to look like a boy.
Yeah, Twiggy type.
Yeah, and now it's like everybody wants big glutes, which you see what I mean. So, and we understand that. So when we train, and women, but even back then, I would always have women saying to me, I don't like my butt. My butt is, flabby.
Now it's changed or...
Yeah, and so now people are just after on big glutes as much as possible. But anyway, so these workouts, these group PT workouts, they are body transforming, and they're kind of like healthy, short, intense workouts. When you think about a workout, they're healthy. So everything we do is just around, we just wrap it up in health. What's going to be the best for a person, both mental health, physical health, what's sustainable, what's achievable, what's convenient, what's all these things, creating the product so that we can solve everybody's problems. And so no one can really come to me and say, I don't have the time. I'm like, we've got group PT early in the morning, or the evening, and I've got one-to-one sessions on the weekend. I've got time. Because all you need to do is commit to, ultimately, you need to commit to 3 half-an-hour workouts per week. That's an hour and a half of training, and I can transform your body.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it blew me away was the shortness of time. Not going to the gym for hours all the time, and massive change. It's been really amazing. So
it's good,
Yeah. It's blown my mind.
I'll tell you a great story. I had a lady. She was training 5 hours a week in the mornings. And not getting results. She was training at one of the gym donor kind of style places. Yeah. Anyway, and she sat down with me. We spoke, and I said to her, "Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back your training to 3.5 hours a week." She was like, "Okay." She was a bit confused, thinking that she's got to do more training. Anyway, so I cut her training right down, and so I got her, and she lost about 20 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah, so just consistently from that.
So the problems for her was really just a bit of an
overrun?
Yeah,
she didn't know what she was doing. That's the thing. you don't need to do 5 hours of training a week to get those kind of results. So people they just have an idea in their head, and then they just go, I'm going to do this to get that result. But you've never ever been able to get that result. So how do you know that that's actually going to work?
Well, I mean, that was essentially what made me change, because I was sitting there thinking, I know what I need to do, and I'm going in to do some of it, but I'm not getting the result because it's that last 10% and having someone make you do it, and the regularity. And what I would say to people when I business coach them is that it's really consistency and persistence, So consistency as in all, making it regular enough to make a difference all the time, long periods of time. And then the persistence to persist through when something comes up to stop you getting in. So for me, for the last couple of weeks, it's been lack of sleep, not enough time, but because we're locked in and there's just no way out of that for those sessions, I have to go. And so I just make the time. And then that's pushing me through that. And now I've got more time. I can cruise through it for a while, but
like you're a great example of someone who's made a decision, and like you're gonna stick by your decision, not change your mind after 2 weeks.
So the mindset's also a huge factor in it.
You got to make a decision. You got to decide. Okay, this is what I really want. And sometimes it's going to be hard, but you're just going to keep working towards achieving that. My dad, I think my dad introduced me to a guy called Jim Rohn, and he used to say, if you want something and you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to get it.
That's right.
If you want something, you want it bad enough, you find a way to get it. And that's the truth. That is the truth. So when somebody comes to me with an excuse, I'm like, well, you don't really want it that bad if you're finding something to stop you from achieving what you said that you want to achieve.
I've certainly had that with business clients in coaching, where they just if procrastination is really a thing, is it the procrastination, or do they just not actually care about the outcome? Because I couldn't imagine not turning up to do my stuff in work, and it's the same with any goal, really. Like if you don't have that end goal that's super compelling, then it's not really going to happen at all.
Sure.
And the way I often look at it with them is, I think that most people way underestimate their long-term ability. They don't think they'll ever get in good shape, or they don't think they'll ever get to that final goal. So it sort of diffuses it. And they also overestimate how quickly it'll happen. So, I've been doing a month and a half of hard training, and if I looked in the mirror, it wouldn't be massively different. I can feel the difference, but I know that a year of that is going to give me that end goal. So I'm patient enough to chip through it. I think a lot of people must neg out in that mid-range, because they don't realize that you got to have patience to get through to that goals.
I agree with that. I think, but the problem, the worse than patience, is just that, like giving up kind of nature, giving up kind of attitude. That's the worst thing. So people will start doing their fitness program, and they just change their mind, or like they just give up. They just, that's for me. It goes against what I'm about. So therefore, I can't get it. I can't get just giving up on something. But yes, everybody's just different. What we try and do our best at is trying to make it realistic. To show them, and we try to help them believe that what they can't. So if they can't believe that they're going to eventually get to their goal, then we change that. And if they believe they're going to get there in 2 weeks, then we make it realistic, and we try to fix that. So we try at the beginning. I try my best to set people up for their success, and try to get them either thinking more realistically, or trying to believe, visualizing them actually getting to that goal. And those that actually, and the other thing is, some people just don't want to be told as well. So some people will listen, and they'll be like, hey, this guy really cares about me, and I can see he's genuine. And so they'll make me their authority, or their mentor, or someone that they'll go to get further advice. But some people, they don't want that. Some people just don't want that. And it's unfortunate. It's like that learnable personality trait. If you don't have that, then you're going to struggle with any kind of knowledge input into your life. experience input. Or
Yeah, it's certainly, there's a principle from this guy, Stephen Covey, right?
Yeah.
And he talks about seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think it's also from Confucius, actually. I think it was where it first comes from, or someone like that. And for me, it's a bit of a game changer because I'm always wanting to talk, and I'm like, oh, well, this is what I know, I know what I know, and what I know.
Yeah.
But what I found is that if I just sit and understand and listen first, you can have that break and a breath, and let that learning come in, and that's been a bit of a game changer, especially in fitness.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That learning thing, man, I struggled with that, like, because I'm very competitive, and so, but like my father, like I'm so blessed that I had my father to teach me, and I spent a lot of time with him, and he taught me so much stuff, like so much. You just imagine, like he competed at the world's got 8th. He was Mr. South Africa 4 times, bodybuilding, powerlifting as well. He was just awesome, and he had.
It's in your blood, really.
Yeah, and so he taught me everything that he knew, but I remember once. It was a time when I would spend some time in the UK, and then I came back to South Africa, and we did a workout together, and he tried to correct me, and I was like, no, I feel it better like this. And afterwards, and like I thought about it, I was like, no, how can I not listen to someone that's got all this wisdom, knowledge, and experience, and I'm just this little kid with bad attitude, doesn't want to take instructions, and then those kinds of moments.
I think we've always been there.
Those kinds of moments in your life, you just are great because they humble you, and then, and that's like my relationship with God. That's probably what helps so much in that situation, because that pride is just something that overtakes us, and so that's a great turning point, or kind of learning point in my life where. My dad showed me that, and I was like, nah, I do it better like this. But I had these little arms, and he had, like, South African champ, world 8th place. And so from then, I remember just doing my best to stay humble and be teachable. Just if someone's teaching me something, just listen. And then at the end, maybe analyze and go, okay, maybe that's not as good as what I'm already doing. But don't just like not take someone else's advice and not learn.
Well, that's a great way for us to finish off today. Thanks for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Man, it's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm actually sad we don't have longer, but I'd love to do another follow-up close to contest time or after.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks so much
you.
for your time, man.
Thanks for coming in.
It's awesome.